broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hello and welcome, Killjoy fans! We're back for a new episode of the Killjoys AfterBuzz After Show here on AfterBuzz. If you have not already, go to youtube.com/AfterBuzz, hit subscribe, go to iTunes, hit subscribe, go to SoundCloud, hit subscribe. We're everywhere. I'm your host, Yael Tygiel. You can tweet at me during the show at Yael Tygiel. That's YAELTYGIEL. And be sure to use the hashtag ABTV Killjoys. I've got my lovely gentleman with me. Talking about Killjoys, they're rocking out. Zach is rocking out. Zach, say hello.
Hey guys. Thanks for tuning in.
I gotta say,
That's it?
Well, I mean, well,
you're at that Zach.
I'm at that Zach was. You guys heard it before? I was in the zone. Yeah.
Sorry.
Thanks for interrupting me.
You're welcome.
Thank you for watching. I'm Stephen Lemieux. Sorry I was gone last week. I do want to give a shout out to Erica at ehungry302 on Twitter, who said, love the intro song for Killjoys. So you know what, we're gonna play it for you today.
Yeah, we are.
This is like the weirdest thing. After like this episode, like I've conglomeratively decided that this is one of my favorite shows that I'm watching right now.
I felt that way last week.
Like it's literally like it's from episode 1 it grew on me. I was expecting, I liked Helix. Mm-hmm. Helix is a good sci-fi show, but this kind of has that different feel where I'm not wondering what the hell's going on. It's actually building a world instead of just me trying to pick the world apart. It's like a different feeling, and I'm like, I really hope this gets a few more seasons. Like I'm really excited for watching this show more than one season.
When we started this show, we tuned in thinking we're gonna get some cheesy, ridiculous show about bounty hunters in space, which is exactly what it appeared to be from all the promos and stuff that we'd seen. Mm-hmm. And then the more we watch it, the more we're just like, this is a good show, you guys. Like, this is a quality show.
Was I the only one expecting them to try to be like Guardians of the Galaxy before the season started? I was like thinking they were going to try to go on that, but they're not at all. And I'm like, I'm so happy that it's a completely different thing and they're not trying to grab that energy.
No, I didn't think that at all, but I definitely thought it would be a lot cheesier and like silly and campy and over the top, and it's not. And I'm not disappointed that it's not campy. I'm just surprised at how much I love this show.
They put people in freaking acid rains as an execution.
Yeah, there's no silliness.
But you could have totally played that silly in like a different way. That's the thing. But it doesn't. They did it dark and just like real, and it worked.
Yeah,
I'm in.
Yeah.
Well, not with that. That's execution by black rain.
I mean, we've all put somebody under acid rain before, but like not like that.
It's real messed up, that rain.
So I gotta ask.
It sounds like a really weird dystopian like love song. I put her out in the acid rain.
She broke up with me, so I put her out in the acid rain. Question: at the end, they're washing off those things that they attached them to,
which really bothered me. But yeah.
Were we to assume that the bodies just completely dissolved away in the rain?
Oh yeah, because we saw. So we got to see. So disgusting. We got to see the bodies go from live to people dying to skeletons, and it kept raining. So I think we're to assume that at the end, all they had to do was just rinse it off, which is disgusting.
The props department had to have had a blast with this episode.
Oh yeah. I mean, I just imagine that's so fun, but also absolutely disgusting.
Yeah. Great.
That's what the show is.
I know, this is ridiculous. All right, so how are we breaking it down, Miss Yael Tygiel?
We're going to be all over the place today, and I'm okay with that because this episode had me all over the place, right?
All over the place like the bodies of those 3 people who got executed.
I mean, just had you melting.
You guys are so gross.
Chocolate.
All right. The thing about this episode is there were parts, because Johnny's always our goofy one.
Yeah.
And so he did have his goofy lines. And then we also had really touching moments with Dutch and Davin. We had dramatic suspense with the whole situation in the bar. We really were all over the place this episode. Correct? I mean, I guess you guys don't have emotions the way I do.
I mean, you mean all over the place emotionally?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think that as was leaving. There was a lot,
right?
Definitely, but it didn't feel. I guess when you say all over the place, my brain thinks that I'm assuming you're talking about like it was all crazy and hard to keep track of.
Oh no!
This was like very well put together.
Oh yeah, no,
emotionally,
it very much was put together and cohesive and worked. I'm saying I felt all over the place as a viewer.
Well, I thought you were just doing it for the pun of the acid making them all over the place.
No, because they weren't all. It's not like it made them explode.
They ended up all over the place.
It was a good setup, though.
I think
all over the place, like the guy who touched the electric fence 3 episodes.
Oh, that guy was all over.
That guy was all over the place. I really enjoy TV shows because.
Sorry.
Calm down.
Don't break your phone just because I like TV shows.
Yeah.
It's very bad.
You like TV shows? I wouldn't have guessed here at AfterBuzz.
Some TV shows do a really poor job at balancing an interesting story of the week with character development. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's just an episode that's just completely dialogue, complete character development, and they do it just to get it out of the way so they can move on to bigger and better things. But this did such a good job because after last episode, we know we need to get to development with the Avon and Dutch. Mm-hmm. We need to know what's going to happen in the team. We need to get a resolution of that. But at the same time, I don't want a whole episode dedicated to that. But also at the same time, I don't want that whole thing lasting 2 or 3 episodes. So they knocked it all out in 1 episode while providing us with an interesting story with interesting dynamics and more background information about the world while more background information about every single character at the same time, and it didn't feel like it was on the nose. It was just part of a very well-written episode of television.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a cynic, and I always think that the worst is going to happen, and I did not expect us to be dealing with Davin and Dutch this episode. I thought that would be something that, like, they would pretend that everything was okay, and in 3 episodes we'd get a, we need to deal with this. But no, we're coming back.
We only have 10 episodes in the season.
I know, but we're coming back, and we're right there. We're right there dealing with the situation, which I think was really well done. I didn't like that we went back to the splitting the team thing where we had Johnny dealing with one thing and Davin and Dutch dealing with something else, because I really like them together.
But it felt natural within this episode. That's the thing. When you split up the team like that, oftentimes it feels like they did it because they needed to fill the time to have an A and a B story.
Right.
But this was like, it all totally made sense. It fit. Yeah, Johnny had to recover. The 2 of them, like, he actively separated them for a good reason. I love how he messed with them.
Okay, let's jump into them.
Lonovis in the chat says the Dutch should stay dead.
The Dutch?
The Dutch. That's what the Avon
right.
and Dutch are. Yeah, I like that they split them up. Because it wouldn't make sense to have 3 people be able to sort out their problems together. You can't do that because it just turns out to an arguing match. And the one person blows a low blow and then everyone's yelling. You need to separate them because the problems that Johnny has with the Avon are completely different than the problems that Dutch has with the Avon.
Right.
He tried to kill both of them, but the underlying problems are completely different. So it wouldn't make sense for Johnny to be involved in Dutch's problems with the Avon, and it wouldn't make sense for Dutch to be involved with Johnny's problems with the Avon, because that's a family matter, and it's a lover's quarrel. It's 2 different things. They're not all angry at this for the same reason.
Right.
Well, you could work that. You could, like, a good writer can work an episode where
So now you're talking crap about the writers, Zach.
Ooh.
No, I'm saying they could have done it either way. No, what I'm saying is this was well written, but I'm saying there's not an inherent problem in sticking them all together, because those, like, a dynamic like that could have also been fun. Where
they could have done a bottle episode locking them in a room.
It's an episode of Everybody Hates Dav.
Well, I mean, if you
Dav.
let's go back to what we talked about last week. I predicted that it would be a bottle episode, but it kind of was, but it kind of wasn't, right? Because we had it was like 2 separate
bottle episodes in one.
It was 2 because they were stuck on their ship.
I mean, the thing is, it's hard to say that this. It was more or less a bottle episode because you were using almost entirely new location, or you were using almost entirely previous locations, meaning they weren't building any new sets. They were all
aside
on
from the tunnels.
sets. The tunnels were the only thing. They had one scene or two scenes out of the bar or the ship. That's it. That's all they
well, in the streets.
used.
I liked the storm through the window, though. That was special effects. Like, we have a special effects budget for this episode. Let's buy a bunch of rain machines and let's make this badass storm. And let's shoot a few people in the head.
Let's talk about the Dutch. The Dutch. I like it. So they... Johnny sets up them to go on this rogue mission or whatever, and it turns out that he's just trying to get them to talk. And I love that we have Bellish involved with it. You know that she knew exactly what was happening.
She kicks him or knees him in the groin.
He deserved it.
He gave her a cheap shot.
It's not his fault.
I'm sorry. She didn't stab him. She kicked him in the nuts. He deserved that.
Yeah, he kind of deserved that. Because Dutch can't hit him,
did
so...
he, though? Like, he's...
Regardless of what he did to them under the influence, the whole situation is need the nut worthy.
What the scene really gave us, though, is the familial bond that we have between her and Dutch, which is interesting because we haven't seen that more than just as a broker and her client.
Right.
And now it's more of she really actually is friends with Dutch and gives a crap about her. I kind of, in my mind, though, I feel like Bellish is her name. I feel like she dies in this season. I always throw out these things, but honestly, I feel like if Klein's gonna try to get to Dutch and doesn't know where she is,
that was so dramatic.
If Dutch finds a way to avoid Klein and Klein wants to know where she is, the first person he's gonna torture to death is Bellish.
Interesting. I'll say.
I mean,
no, go on.
Oh, we're just. He's right that we're just enough connected to her now. After that, like seeing her defend Dutch, that we like her just enough to feel something if she dies.
Yeah, just a little bit. Now we're just gonna be like, oh, she's a badass. She's holding out. Oh, she's gonna give up. Damn.
If she died the last episode, we would have been like, oh.
Yeah.
I guess she's dead. But now we're like, oh, she was cool.
All right. I see where you're going with this.
Just like how they brought in Sean Bake's character. What's the guy?
Fancy.
Fancy.
How do you forget his name? He has the fancy toys. His name is Fancy. He's the designated asshole.
But just like they gave him an episode to make us like him.
Yeah, they can't kill him now.
I don't think they're going to kill him, but they instilled that. So if they did have to write something with the character, that's what I like about this show. Is all these characters that when we first saw them, we thought, I hope we see them again. We're actually seeing them again, and they're actually giving them scenes that make them more interesting and make them more like we don't want them to die.
Yeah.
Because a lot of shows just kill people off like that. So when I saw the priest guy a few episodes ago and he came back tonight, I'm like, okay, this guy's going to have a big part to play in what's going on in this final 2 episodes with Klein, with everything that's going on. And now even this other guy, even Bellish and even Fancy, I feel like could come back. And I know this is like predictions.
Yeah, way to get into predictions.
I'm sorry. I'm like excited about the next episode.
You love this show so much. You're like, I love this show. Here's what I want to see. Here's what I want to see. One
of the iTunes comments we had was negative about me going into predictions. Like I'd want to write the show myself.
Continue then.
Okay. I think it's all a good setup to separate D'Avin from the team because it gives him a chance to come in the clutch.
Interesting.
Because if Johnny and Dutch are in a bad place, that he would have been with them in that bad place if they were together. This gives him ample opportunity to come in the clutch, or for Klein to try to use him against them, and then him betray Klein. Like it leaves a lot of room for storylines.
Interesting.
I want to apologize ahead of time.
Go ahead.
Dutch's clutch.
All right.
I'll ship the Dutch clutch.
Yeah, but this show is really good about using its characters. Like a lot of shows create these really interesting characters and forget about them because they were like, all right, well, we're off on this other planet now. We'll whatever. And one-off characters don't come back. But these seemingly one-off characters have been used throughout, and it's good storytelling.
I gotta say, within the last 5 seconds in the chat, somebody said, if someone hurts Pri, I will flip the tables, and then randomly people were like, oh no, hashtag save Pri. I'm like, nobody said he's gonna die.
Also, you'd flip tables, we would flip a lot more.
I know, right? Shout out to Tom Allison.
Yeah, Tom Allison.
He was going to call in tonight, but he couldn't speed up his plan, so he wasn't able to make it. But we're going to try to get him on here.
Yeah, because we want them all on here with us. Okay.
I've been steering this ship completely into the storm.
I told you I knew that this episode we would be all over the place.
Bodies and acid rain.
Seriously. So here's why that's wrong. Because the acid rain doesn't split your body everywhere. It just melts it down into one place. Melts it into
rain, which poodles everywhere and mixes with every other rain. You're all over the place.
All right, we're getting caught up on unnecessary details.
I disagree. It's a necessary detail. I feel like we got a lot of backstory this episode. We found out a lot more about Dutch. We found out a little bit more about Davin and Johnny. We also got Potter's situation finally sorted.
Yeah.
We got a little bit more about Alvis. That's the monk, for those who didn't know. His name is Alvis.
Alvis.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I also was like, Alvin? His name is Alvin? He's a chipmunk?
He looks like Joel McHale with cornrows.
Does have that body. Shout out to the wardrobe department.
Yeah.
Everything that they wear this whole season, I was like, I want to live in that year. I want to live there. I want to live on those moons. Wardrobe is wonderful.
So do we want to break this down character by character, just what we learned about them?
Yeah, let's talk about Dutch. Let's start with that because we want to. So Dutch, in her harem, was trained in killing, dancing, and marrying into royalty, which answers our questions about what kind of harem
She's a royal assassin.
Yeah. Absolutely fantastic.
It's a very weird combination of things. I guess if is the harem set up just to assassinate royals, basically?
Not necessarily.
Is that what she meant by marrying into royalty?
I think that the harem, I'm going to make assumptions here, that the harem taught different girls different things that they needed to know for their different assignments, for example. And so she was trained to marry into royalty, so therefore the training is, how to be prim and proper, to learn the fancy dancing, to learn the dance of seduction, whatever, and different techniques in murder.
Oh, so it's like, let's assume that whoever she's marrying has many wives.
Okay.
I'm just going to assume that,
right,
because that's, if you have a harem of any kind,
right,
yeah,
it's sort of implied. So this is basically, these guys have a bunch of wives that they have sex with and all that stuff.
Oh, is that what you do with wives?
They're super highly trained bodyguards.
Ah.
At all times. So imagine these guys sitting on a throne surrounded by beautiful women who, if anybody charges in, they can just murder without a second thought.
I'm gonna be real honest, I want to watch that show. That's where Lost Girl will pick up when it ends.
The way she read the lines for saying killing, dancing, and marrying into the rich,
marrying into royalty
made me think that dancing was something else. It made me feel like dancing was having sex.
Dancing was a euphemism?
Yeah. Because, she kind of looks down as she says dancing. She's like...
Here's why I disagree. Because she
says...
She's
just sleeping with a random guy in this episode, too.
Hold on, we'll get to that.
Okay.
So, I disagree with you on what dancing means. I think she meant dancing because she says to Davin, that's the one thing I really miss.
Dancing?
Yeah.
It could mean something else. She could still really miss it.
No, because she, as we saw earlier in the episode, was doing that.
I think what you're talking about is just, it was one of the courses under marrying into royalty.
Yeah.
Also, harem girls are not wives, Zach. That's what a lot of it says.
Yeah, harem girls are your...
No, I understand that, but harem
implies multiple women.
Harems are usually only exist in societies that have polygamy. That's what I meant by that.
All right. I also really liked where you went with that, and I want to watch that show. So we learned that about Dutch. We also learned that she shot Johnny upon meeting him.
Yeah,
which
happens.
All right. I understand the difference is that Davin is someone we trust, and that he betrayed their trust and beat them. But she shot Johnny, and they're still good.
Yeah, and it's interesting because Johnny gives the line earlier in the episode with I have experience with bullet wounds.
Yeah,
and we're like, oh yeah, because he got shot by Dutch.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah, friend stuff.
We also learn how Dutch deals with stressful situations. She relieves her stress with strangers. I'm assuming in the upstairs sex rooms at Royal.
Most likely.
Right?
We didn't see the actor's face, but that extra was probably having a pretty good day on set.
I mean, not by the looks of her face. She seemed so bored.
Yeah, you're that guy.
I didn't say she was having a good time.
Yeah, but like, how would you feel if the woman you were with was like, all right, those listening didn't see me roll my eyes, but it was an eye roll.
You'd be like, she's a really good actor. Yeah, I mean, imagine being like, that's like your big thing, and you're like, look, I'm in this scene, and she's totally, and they're like, dude, she like looks like she hates what's going on.
Yeah, you look miserable.
Everyone in the chat just says lucky stranger.
Yeah, lucky stranger.
Yeah, I assumed that was in the bar, since they established that there are rooms upstairs specifically for that use.
With people who are clean, who are just for that use as well.
Yeah, because Potter takes care of them. Speaking of Potter, let's talk about Potter and the things we learned about her.
She's a wizard, Harry.
That's not what we learned. She's a Jack addict. We also found out that she's going through withdrawal in this episode, which we were watching, and I was like, is it withdrawal? And then he goes, she's going through withdrawal. And I was like, yeah, that's what it looked like.
We also learned that Johnny has a history
of dealing with women who are addicted.
Who have been addicted. So we might get a history of former girlfriends, or Johnny might be divorced. You don't know.
I was
thought
thinking
it was his mom.
Yeah.
Especially because later he says that he couldn't go to school because he had to stay and take care of her.
Interesting.
Yeah, I thought it was mom. It makes sense. I mean, Johnny's a nice guy, and it would also, like, that would have stunted his career perfectly.
Yeah. I also think he wouldn't have stayed. Well, I mean, he does like to fix things. He would have stayed with a girl who was an addict.
It would have to be somebody he's like very tied to, because if it's not, he would have just probably dropped her at some kind of place, like a clinic, like a whatever the future space version of a recovery clinic is.
Yes. What? Read it out loud, sir.
This is so in poor taste, but because the drug is called Jack, they say Potter is addicted to Jack.
Oh, come on, you guys.
I mean, it's not fair for you to share that with me and not the rest of the class.
We're children here. I'm sorry. Potter is a pothead.
So can we?
These are great puns.
Can we talk about Jack for a minute though? Because it seems like
Jack,
the way
the
drug. It seems like the way that they're talking about it, it's like
Ritalin, cocaine, heroin, all mixed together in one.
They made it sound like you can't get off of it.
Yeah, that's definitely what it sounded like. Especially because what we learn about Potter is that she was a doctor on Crash. She took it the first time just to help her study. So it's kind of, I want to say, Adderall-esque.
It's an Adderall. Yeah, he's right. Adderall, cocaine, heroin.
And then her wealthy parents covered up the fact that she ended up murdering a patient
so that she could keep her license.
And the way that they solved this problem was sending her off to Westerly, where they continue to make sure that she gets a supply of pure Jack.
I hope her father is Hugh Laurie.
What?
House?
I mean, I would love to see Hugh Laurie on this show. I don't think he's going to show up.
You keep that to yourself.
Yeah, let him predict what he wants.
No.
Before we move on, because we still have so much more to talk about, and I'm sure there are tons of great puns happening in the chat roll, that I want you to share all the best ones. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. We clearly love this show. We spent the first 10 minutes of the show just talking about how much we love this show. And we ask you to do a very simple thing for us. Go to iTunes, hit subscribe. That way you don't miss an episode. Also, leave us a rating and a review. If you like us, that's a 5-star rating. If you don't like us, that's messed up and we're sad. But you can leave us a 4-star rating and leave a comment. Let us know how we're doing, what we're doing well, what we could be doing better. Your terrible Jack puns, we will take those as well. Do we have any shout-outs?
I have a shout-out to Tom Allison because he just sent us a video. So I'm going to send it to Alexis in the booth. And she just needs to check her email, download it, and throw it on the TriCaster, and we'll play that for you guys.
Oh.
But yeah, I just forwarded it to you, Alexis.
Oh,
and we'll play that in a few minutes. But I do want to give a shout out. Man, I gotta say, like every single week, we get a new review from Lana Weiss.
Lana Weiss, you're the best.
And that's why I shout her out in the chat more than others. Because you know what? If you take that time to do that, you get special treatment.
Yeah, guys.
Of Raiden's Secrets. Lanavice, August 9th, 2015. I love how every episode reveals more about the world of the show. I'm really curious to see if this episode will be the start of a darker, hotter Johnny. What did you guys think of Johnny's strap/present for Dutch and Avon?
Two things. One, I'm not a fan of this. I'm not a fan of this.
Not really.
No.
Nope. Today's voice? No. Never use it again.
I'm going to use it the rest of this show.
I assumed.
No, I'm quashing it.
All right. And second, the trap.
Half Patrick Stewart, half Bane.
Yeah, I know. So, I think that's why I don't like it. It's because I want one or the other.
Engage.
Vetoed.
The trap.
Yes.
It's a trap. I love this idea that Johnny put it together. I also love that it's a lie detector. And I absolutely love when they were like trying to make it work. Like, here's a lie. Nope. Okay. Here's a lie. Nope. Okay. Trying to figure out, because she doesn't know how she feels about Devin. And so she was like, let's try this. I like the way it worked out, and I like the way they did it. And I like even most that they could just break it to solve the problem.
I like that they just took LED lights and freaking cigarette ashtrays and just put them together and became a tower. And it looks like we have the video ready. Alexis is going to go ahead and full screen it. Let's hear from Mr. Tom Allison, who plays Cree on the show.
I'm so excited.
And
hey everyone, I wanted to take a second just to send some free love from the Royale to all of our fantastic Killjoys fans. We love you guys so much. Thank you for your support and for your love. And listen, tweet #RenewKilljoys. Let's keep our show coming back for a second season. Thanks, guys.
Oh my God, that was awesome. I just fell in love.
you guys should go follow Tom on Twitter. It's THOMALLISON at Tom Allison on Twitter. And tweet him, dude. The guy responds to like every tweet that you send. It's great. That was pretty awesome.
That was amazing. I think I just died. I'm so excited. That was great. Somebody tell me what we're talking about, because that was amazing.
We were talking about the device that Johnny
the LED ashtrays. I think the prop department was like so excited about making the acid rain stuff and all like things that they were like, oh crap, we need to make a thing.
Intern!
Make a thing! You have $5. Go to the dollar store. Figure it out.
They probably paid $5 out of their own pocket.
Yeah.
I mean, it worked. It was
great.
It was cool. It was just fancy enough looking, and I loved the solution at the end.
Yeah.
They're like, what are we going to do with this thing? Lucy can't shut it off. Push.
Stomp. Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, that'll do it.
I mean, when they started to get pulled into the storm, all I could think was like, we don't need this. We don't need this. And then they fixed it, and I was like, yeah, they agreed. We don't need this.
It was an elegant solution because it wasn't forced. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like Lucy's like, I can override it now. Right. It's like, no. Yeah. Johnny just didn't bother to make it unbreakable.
I don't think Johnny was expecting the storm. I don't think anyone was
expecting Well, that's the thing. Is like he didn't expect storm, and he didn't like breaking it was like not his concern.
Right. Yeah. We also get this really amazing scene with the knife throwing at Bad Davin. There are air quotes on that. The projection of Bad Davin.
A lot of people in the chat roll think that that's going to be a foreshadowing of her having to take a shot, or him having to take a shot while she's under hostage with Klein.
Oh, I
mean, I would assume it would be him having to do something.
Oh, yeah. Also, stop it.
What?
Yeah, just stop it.
No.
Mute him if he starts doing it again.
No, Alexis.
Thanks, Alexis. So we're Alvis. Let's talk about Alvis.
Oh, yes. I didn't do it again. You can't mute me for that. God.
Thanks, Alexis.
Alvis is the Joel McHale with dreadlock with
yes.
Alvis is our monk. So we learned a little bit more about the brothers.
Creepiness of this whole cult thing.
Well, I mean, it's less of a cult, more of a resistance.
I think it's both. It's just both at the same time, which makes it you want to root for them because, like, obviously this system is corrupt and deadly and is probably going to try to kill our heroes soon. But these guys are real creepy. Like, the mother tree to connect us all, and
The roots grew. I love it.
So creepy.
Well, it's all about Earth and mother trees and Mother Earth and family.
Yeah, you can make it sound make it about all the nice stuff you want. When a bunch of weird people wander out of the sides of this underground tunnel, just all chanting, "And the roots grew." Run!
No, I mean he's one of the leaders. He is one of the uncles, which
The ritual involves him cutting open his chest and then smearing blood on their eyes.
Well,
who are you to judge their rituals?
maybe they just have some.
I'm watching this show. I'm gonna judge their rituals.
I want to know who was like, how are we going to do some sort of ritual? You know what we're going to do? We're going to have him cut himself.
Also, look how dirty all those people are. You're going to spread a lot of diseases that way.
Can I just point out that Zach is talking about how it's messed up that the people underground are cutting their chest and putting them things on their eyes when they just put 3 people out in acid rain to execute them. Yeah, and that's the government.
Those were criminals.
Yeah, those are criminals, man.
Those criminals were probably... We're going to find out that the people who've been being executed have probably been members of the rebellion, because they said for treason. So those are probably members of the church. And then when the guy walks away and he says, black rain scars, it's kind of like a trophy to them. I bet it's like kind of that thing, because they've been put through the persecution of the black rain.
It's interesting. I missed the treason bit. But yeah, it is like, it's a form of execution. It's a messed up form of execution, but like it's visually very like interesting.
Well, we've consistently seen the nerves heighten and the tension raised between Westerlands and the company and things like that in the past like 6 episodes.
Right.
So even in this episode, when the bad dude, the bald guy, is like, you're putting your own people out there in the rain because those are the people who are fighting for Westerly, yet you're putting them out in the acid rain.
Yeah, Cal says that to Hector, the company agent.
So it's there's definitely something going on with the Westerlies are going to start creating a lot of chaos.
Right.
I'd like to see... I'm wondering if the company's face will be taken off at the end of the season. And we find out what it really is.
I mean, I think at this point, the company is still... I think going to stay just this, faceless name. But I think we definitely did see... I mean, this whole season has been, since the beginning, talking about this civil war that's coming up. Yeah. And we learned a lot about that this episode. Cal had stolen 7th generation claim IDs, which takes us back to the conversation that we had previously about the 7th generation Westerlands, which, as you were talking about the conversation he had with Hector, and then we find out at the end that Hector is really... helping the resistance.
Well, it makes sense because if you look at it, the guy says, I'm a 4th generation. I'm not going to get crap.
Right.
So this is the the 7th generation's finally around. This is the first time it's hit 7 generations. They're starting giving them land. Well, where's the land for the people who aren't part of that? Where's the land for the people who are 4 generations in? In 3 generations, there's going to be no land left for them.
Excellent question.
Hello, is somebody...
Somebody agrees with us. Oh.
What was going on in there? I don't even know.
I've decided they agree. Well, you're right. And we find out that Hector's handing over details at this meetup that was supposed to be a very simple little thing at the beginning. When we see Alvis sitting next to Hector, they make eye contact, and then that whole thing gets interrupted by Cal's plan. And Hector hands over the specs for the storage depots because it looks like the company is stockpiling weapons and they're prepping for something big. They don't know what. And he hands over blueprints for the bunkers.
Yeah. So again, what the guy said, why are you fighting against the Westerlies?
Right.
He really wasn't.
Yeah.
And what's really interesting is how detrimental it was throwing him out in the rain and why the monk went out in the rain to help them out. It explains it a lot more.
Oh, it makes complete sense. We had that 30 seconds at the end that explained the entire episode.
And we had a great scene because Johnny goes outside really to get the rivet gun. And if you guys ever seen Darkman?
No.
Great movie called Darkman. The guy's wrapped in cloth because of burns. They burned down his lab. And the last thing he does is he shoots a rivet gun through somebody and they're like, nailed you. And I'm like, it's a rivet gun. That's what I was thinking this whole time, because it's a sci-fi movie. So he like shoots. He's like, no more Mr. Nice Johnny.
Yeah. We end the episode with Johnny is done fixing things.
He's done.
I mean, you'd be pretty annoyed at this point too. He's the nice guy. He's always helping.
He's like the IT guy that's sick of telling people to turn it off and turn it on.
I feel like he's more
Except that's
like
all
Lord,
he wants to do.
I feel like he's turned into Lord Friendzone. In that he's always trying to help.
Think so.
Seeing him with Potter, I was like, Lord Friendzone.
She actually seemed more interested in him after that. I don't see him as Friendzone. I see him as he didn't have time to worry about that because all his people are getting into trouble, so he's too busy fixing them to worry about himself and fall in love with girls that decide to stay on planets when they're being fumigated with flame.
Maybe he friend-zoned himself, but I feel like because he's always trying to be the fixer, always trying to be the good guy, I feel like he has put himself in this, not just in a relationship situation, but I feel like he's put himself into the I'm always going to be the friend that you can rely on position in all states. And we finally see him snap and twist on that this episode, which, I mean, if his life has been the way it sounds like, I'm surprised it took him this long. Right? I would have snapped so much earlier.
I mean, getting stabbed by your brother is sort of a wake-up call.
Yeah, but he didn't snap until the end of this episode, which is after dealing with this other thing.
But I think it's like he starts to think that way, and then he's like, but you know what? I'm still the good guy. Like, it wasn't his fault. Like, he was under mind control or whatever. And so he's like, I'm just going to let go. And then he has to deal immediately with all this nonsense where he's going out in the black rain to save a guy, like, going through the tunnels, like, and he's just like, it's the straw that broke the camel's back. Like, he's just like, I am done with this. I'm helping this chick get over her like drug addiction.
Not get over, get through it.
Not even get over it, but just get through a withdrawal of her drug addiction.
Right.
Davin slept with her, so now I'm fixing her drug addiction. Davin slept with Dutch, now I'm fixing her violence addiction.
Meanwhile, there's like 3 guys with guns about to kill a room full of people, and I have to fix this for some reason. No, I'm done.
Mr. Goku Jr. 2012 in the chat says, man, the Ashmore brothers just can't catch a break, can they? I'm assuming he's referencing Days of Future Past as well as Sean getting stabbed last episode.
Aww.
Womp womp.
Aaron got stabbed last
And
episode.
A. Wilson says, Johnny's been holding back some anger towards Davin for almost a decade. This past week has been his limit because honestly, he's done everything he could for his brother.
Right.
He's gone to the point of the whole nanobite things. He had to shoot his brother. He got he had
cut off his ear. Yeah.
He did have to cut off his ear this season.
He's repressed with dating women because they all decide to die 5 minutes after he meets them.
They don't decide. They just are then.
One exploded with a grenade in her hand, and the other decided to stay behind while they were tossing napalm.
Whatever.
They would rather get killed in horrible ways. I'm surprised that he didn't fall in love with somebody in the rain who decided to walk out into the rain. Like, honestly.
That's true.
Kissing in the rain here, not great. Or singing in the rain here, rather. Not a
Both
great
are
idea.
not a great idea. On that note, I think it's time we head into...
Are we sure?
Yeah.
Have we covered everything?
We need to head into predictions. Got it. When I say predictions, it's predictions time. In the trailer for the next episode, it looks like Dutch finds Klein, and she wants her answers. So that's what it looks like. Ideas? Predictions? You're going to go last. Predictions?
No, don't make me go first.
Well, he has predicted all episode.
I think we're going to see... once they find Klein, like we're gonna finally find out like what his end goal is. I still think that is he represents some sort of outside the quad force.
Okay.
That ultimately will either take our team in outside of the quad to a new location next season, or will just be trying to take down the company.
Okay. Stephen?
I think that there's a distinct
Thank you, Alexis.
Oh, what if Klein is actually working for or leading the resistance?
Yeah, it crossed my mind that Klein's probably gonna end up being a good guy or something stupid. That's because he's the big bad. It's gonna be like a Regina from Once Upon a Time.
Or Spike.
Yeah, I'm the big bad. I'm bad. Just kidding. I've been the good guy the whole time. I hate that.
I mean, as long as he's got like stuff we still don't like about him, like his methods are bad or something.
Oh, sure.
I mean, he might have a greater good complex. You know how that is?
Yeah.
I don't think they're gonna play to that trope. Oh, I was the good guy all along, and now you have to mourn my death, even though you wanted to kill me for so long. Ha ha ha. No, I don't think that's gonna be it. I think he's gonna really be the bad guy. Mm-hmm. But I think his scale is so much smaller, and we're gonna find out. They're gonna find that out when he dies.
What do you mean?
I think that
he's working for someone else.
I think he's the lesser of two evils, and I think he's gonna laugh in her face as he dies in the last episode of this, and we're gonna find out that it's like so much deeper than just him.
I disagree that he would laugh in her face, and I also don't think he's gonna die. I think it'll be revealed that he is working for someone bigger, and that maybe he is really trying to help the resistance, or he's trying to get rid of the bigger bad. But I don't think he's going to die, and two, if he were to die, I think it would be a much more heartbreaking event, because he does feel very paternal to her. She is his little bird, and so I think that it would be very emotional, as opposed to you stupid girl, this is what you've done.
So, do you think we find out that like he's her father or something like that?
Oh, for sure. If he's not actually her father, I think there's going to be mentions or discussions of the fact that he raised her.
I think there's going to be some kind of kill switch. I think he's going to die, because I think his character is vague enough and just menacing enough that we could kill him without damaging the continuity of the show and damaging where it can go.
As long as we would need a replacement for him in one form or another.
I think all of the 9 families are going to be murdered this season.
Wow, big prediction.
I think what needs to take us out of the quad, because I think if we're going to leave the quad, we might as well start season 2 outside of the quad. And I don't think this is really a spoiler, but the name of the episodes.
Yeah.
Escape Velocity is the name of the finale. So Escape Velocity means like they're getting the freaking hell out of there. So I feel like we find out what the plan was all along that the company was doing to the quad, which was maybe just destabilizing the entire thing so they could take it for themselves, whatever it is. And I feel like it's going to be too late to stop it. And they find out it's too late to stop it after they think they've won, when they take down Klein. And that's when they realize that they haven't stopped anything, and they need to get the hell out of there, because they become a rank 6 warrant. If they're escaping the Red 7 next season, that'd be kind of cool.
The Red 17?
Red 17. If they're on the kill list for all the rank 6 kills, they mentioned it.
They did. They mentioned the
level 6 warrants.
6.
Yeah, they brought it back. I inevitably, I think that either Dutch or Klein is a level 6 agent, and that's what this has all been.
Something like that. I think they're going to be a level 6 warrant next season.
Interesting.
And they're getting the hell out of there.
Oh, how interesting. So many things could happen, guys.
Before we leave, though,
yes,
can we talk about the last moment in this episode where Dutch and Johnny are on the bed together with their
reading
feet
comic
up,
books?
reading his comic book, and it's like a slumber party?
Yeah.
What happened there?
It's back to the way it was before Avon ruined everything.
Is that what they did when they were alone? They just like, hey, how are you doing?
Well,
tonight?
and he painted her nails.
Yeah.
Haven't you noticed they don't look as good since Davin was around?
Seriously. God.
He picked out her underwear, he painted her nails, he wore a fedora. Well, he didn't wear a fedora.
I mean, we have 2 episodes left, guys, before the season finale, and we're calling it a season finale because you're all going to start tweeting #renew Killjoys. I also want to say #save Killjoys. Let's use them both. Yeah?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Renew, keep it to the show's official one, because otherwise you can't make it trending.
Fair enough. Screw Save Killjoys.
The show deserves to get a second season at this point. Like, it really does. It's it's at the level of Stargate. Like, with character development and writing, like the first season of Stargate, it kind of has that feel where you're like, this is actually really cool. Like, it's concepts, it's new, it's original, it's delicious.
This could this could blow out into a very big, very fun show.
Yeah.
It has that potential.
Yeah. And we want more.
It has to have enough time to get there.
If Defiance is getting another season, I think Killjoy should get another season.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you to my lovely co-host. Why don't you tell people where they can keep up with you all week?
You can find me on Twitter at Stephen Lemieux. It's also on the Strain After Show, as well as doing Graceland.
Mute.
Yeah, mute that.
Don't
Go on.
mute that.
Hey guys, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at ThatZachWilson, ThatZachWilson, and also here on The Strain with Stephen Lemieux and Dominion tomorrow night as well.
Hit that thumbs up right now. Just take a second. Hit that thumbs up right now.
Great. If you want to keep up with me this week, which you should, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook at Yael Tygiel. That's YAELTYGIEL. And we will see you here next week, 6 p.m. Sundays for more Killjoys. Bye, guys.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
The warrant is all.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.